Alrighty, hello. Welcome everybody. I'm going to be using this series to learn, or more so practice, a lot of these exercises that are inside the textbook. The textbook I'm going to be using is going to be called Beginner's Guide to SolidWorks 2022, Level 1. And so I'm going to be following the process that is taught to me in my classes. And yeah, hopefully this helps somebody else out in case you guys get stuck on them. But let's just get right to it, yeah? Okay. So we're going to start off by first changing our document units. This may not be the same thing you would be doing in your scenario. I'm not entirely sure. But in my scenario, my instructor, professor was grading things based off of 3 decimal point units. Alrighty, so we're going to go ahead and save this file as, I'm going to call it exercise 1. We're just going to override the previous one because, sorry about that noise. Boop. Okay, sorry about the noise. Because I'm literally going to be overwriting everything. Okay. So exercise 1, let's start. I'm going to create a sketch. We're going to do this one on the top plane because of the view that we're going to be seeing. We're going to start off by creating a center rectangle. The reason we want to do a center rectangle is because maybe it doesn't matter on this one, but in future things, it helps a lot with having your origin completely at the center of your object. Might not be applicable in all cases, but let's just make it a good practice in my opinion. Alright, so we're going to make the length of this 6.5 units. And the length of this guy is going to be 5 units. Okay, awesome. Ready, and then we can actually go ahead and extrude this space. We're going to be extruding blind, meaning that it's going to be just going through to the distance that you tell it to without concern for anything in the way. So we're going to be extruding to 0.375. Very small extrusion, but that is what the textbook calls for. Alrighty, so at this point we have this shape. Alright, so the next part we're going to be adding the top two shapes. So we're going to go ahead and create a sketch on top of this face right here. And I think the easiest thing for me here would be to create corner rectangles. That way we can start right at the corner, send it outward, the corner, extend it outward. I don't really need to worry too much about the sizes of them yet, because I'm going to be using Smart Dimension to figure this one out, to do it for us. So we're going to do 2 by 2. Amazing. Alright, so in this case, we're just adding the dimensions of this guy right here, because what we're going to do for the opposite side is I'm going to have you guys select, we're going to add relations between sides. So I'm going to go ahead and select this side right here, only this shorter side, not the whole thing. And we're going to press the control button. I don't know if the right control button works, but the left control button. And then click on this one. It'll let you add the 2 properties right here, and then you'll be able to add relations to them. In this case, we want these 2 to be equal. So there we go. Went down to 2. And as you can see right now, we are still underdefined down here. This basically means that our sketch cannot be solved. So we're going to try to make that, solvable. So that's the reason we're adding relations and dimensions to everything. So we're going to head and do the same thing for this guy right here, and control, and this guy right here. Then we're going to make these equal. It's going to take precedence over the ones that have the dimension already on them. The reason why is because these ones have specifically defined dimensions, whereas these guys do not. So equal. There we go. This is also 2 by 2. Go ahead and accept that. And then as you can see, we should be fully defined down here, and we are. So now we can go ahead and extrude these sides. We're going to extrude these by 2.5 inches. blind as well. There's other options here which we'll get to eventually, but for right now, just know that blind is the default one when you want it to just go through everything. Well, I mean, at least in terms of extrusions, for now. Excuse me. And then, here we go. So at this point, we are here. Okay. And then there's perhaps something that I actually could have done earlier. This is my bad. We're going to go back to the sketch. I failed to notice or remember that. What am I doing? There we go. Edit sketch. That these ones actually have a little fillet radius right here. Fillet radius. I'll select this one right here. Add this one. And then we're going to make the parameters. What is that? 1 inch radius. That is a big radius, but that is what the textbook demands. Once again. The sacred texts of the textbook. Alrighty, we're going to accept that. And then this should influence the rest of the sketch. Yes, there we go. It influenced all of the, my bad, not sketch, the features that you do on it. Okay. Okay, so we are at the point now where we are going to be creating the 2 holes that are up here. We have a 3rd hole down here, but right now we're going to do the 2 up here. So these ones, if you look at the textbook, they do have a thread to them. And the reason why is because these ones right here are meant for either screws or bolts or any sort of mechanisms that lock into them. And regular holes down, like the one at the bottom, is going to be just a cut because we're not going to be doing anything like that with those. So we're going to go to the hole wizard. This hole wizard is going to give us all these features that are going to help us create the cuts on the holes that we want. So we're going to be using the standard type that we use in this textbook at least. We're going to be using these straight taps. And it's the inch, which is the inch that we want. And then textbook says to use default settings for 1/2 inch 20. So 1/2 20 set to what I had earlier. We're going to set this condition to blind because you can do through any of the others. It's going to go all the way down. We're looking for blind. That way it uses the default measurements for the thread. So the rest of it should be fine. You can do other things here like thread class, near side, countersink. Those are extra features. We're not going to be using any of those at this moment. And we'll probably get to them eventually. We're going to go to positions. This is how we're going to place these guys. We're going to click on this face right here because we want it on these guys. So right now we're trying to center these perfectly. But there's no easy way to do these. I mean, of course, I could create lines from here and here and try to have them meet in the center. But what we're actually looking for is going to be based off of the radius of this curve right here. So what we're going to do is we're going to hover right here. You see this little orange pattern that creates here? This is the curve. And the 3 yellow dots right here is going to be like the main points of the curve. As you can see, once these are selected, it actually pops up a little center hole right here. This is going to be the center hole between all 3 of these points where they meet. So we're going to be selecting this guy, and that's where our hole is going to be. And we're going to repeat the same process on this side. Sometimes it's easier to pop it out in my experience. Other times it takes a little bit, but it helps to either follow this little orange pattern or focus on the big yellow center pieces. So there we go. Alrighty. And then let me just tilt this a little bit to make sure. See, this is what I meant right here. Where it's doing what we want it to do. In other situations, it could be doing something different. Like if I had chosen through all, it's going to be going all the way to the bottom. To next, it's going to do similar things, but blind is what we're going for because this is the specific thread as defined by the textbook. So we're going to go ahead and accept that. And now we have the thread right there. Let's see. Alrighty, and then no, that's not what we're looking for. Okay, so the last thing we have to do, let me see if I can actually do something for you guys real quick. There we go. So what I was looking for was shaded cosmetic threads. So these ones by default aren't in there. That's because they are actually there. But we can actually add in annotations. If we wanted to add the spiral of the thread where the screw or the nut would screw into, we could go right click on annotations, details, and then shaded cosmetic threads right here. Check mark it. Okay. And then as you can see, now it has the threads on there. As the kind of title implies, they are cosmetic, so they don't really change anything for our purposes, but it looks presentable sometimes. Let's see. So you're going to be we're gonna do the last hole right here, which we're going to select this guy right here. We're going to select the face. At this moment, normally I would try to be creating a center point where everything connects. We actually have the center point because it was defined to us by the fact that we started at the origin with the center square, center rectangle. So we create a circle of any size because we're going to be resizing it using this tool, the smart dimension, and then 1.5 diameter. Go ahead, features. We're going to do an extruded cut this time. And this cut, we don't necessarily want it to be blind because if there were anything underneath it, it would be cutting through it. We happen to not have anything, but that's just coincidence. If we were to do, what we're going to be doing here is actually through all, which is going to go through all this stuff. Let me see. We're going to do, boop. There we go. And it should be all good to go. Our shape is complete, and we are done with this assignment, except for the fact that I spoke too soon. We're going to edit the material. The textbook said the material is AISI 1020. So we're going to be going with this one. We're going to apply it and then close. And here we go. Here's our material. Now we can, and then if we were to grade this the same way my instructor's been grading us, we would go to Evaluate tab up here, Mass Properties. We're going to look at the volume. And our volume is 30.034 cubic inches. Okay, we can go ahead and save this. And then we are all done with this part, with exercise 1.